This shoe with a review of the Adidas Crazy Infinity. I'm not even sure that's the name. Because Kobe left Adidas, they decided to call his signature lines Crazy. So this is a nod to the Kobe ones from Adidas. It's got the Audi TT silhouette and this little Adidas Superstar shell toe design homage. Um, yeah, it's a pretty strong callback. Overall, it's got a lot of design elements from the Kobe. The Kobe 2 is the one where Kobe decided to leave Adidas for good. So yeah, for size 9.5, it weighs about 555 grams. That's crazy shitload of heavier than the composites, I think, and it feels heavier than the composites. There's a lot of foam all around the shoe. Inside, I don't know what kind of foam they use. It feels very plush and soft, but there's a bit of an imbalance because even though it's soft and plush, it feels like it provides this sinking sensation that doesn't seem to provide a lot of adequate shock absorption. It's just nice to casually walk around, stroll around it, but not for rapid movements where you need some quickly adjusting surfaces that bounces back or provide some shock absorption. It's just decently soft from heel to toe, and there's a bit of a heel to toe drop that's nice, but it feels like an inferior failed version of the cushioning you feel from the bounce cushioning you feel from shoes like the Dame 3s or 5 or 6. Speaking of the Dames, the pattern is very lazy herringbone pattern, but this is definitely a little bit deeper and better than the herringbone pattern we've seen in, let's say, the Composites or the Dame 5 and 6. But yeah, but it's not exactly the best traction out there. It's a very lazy herringbone pattern. It pays a lot of homage and nod to the original Kobe's. The traction is pretty much the same. It's got this little carbon plastic plate to provide some stability. It's very well padded all around, so it's hot, but at the same time, despite all the padding, there's not much of heel lockdown. You feel a certain degree of heel slippage. The foam, although they're thick and clunky, they just managed to make your strides a little bit more inconvenient, but despite the thickness on the lateral side of the shoe, it does not provide some strong breakage. It does work to a certain degree to provide a certain stability or anti-inversion resistance, but not great. The base is not as wide as it seems, and there's not a prominent outrigger, so not exactly great in terms of lateral stability. The zip and the mesh, I don't know why, it adds the clunky clumpiness of the whole shoe design. So it's like, if you want to create a shoe that's for leisure, casual wear, fashion wear, you might want to make it more breathable and light. And if you want to give a performance shoe, you might want to provide some cushioning that actually works, or make some upgrades to the shoe. Another crazy thing about the shoe is this toe box. It's hard rubber, so there's this crazy dead space on top of your toe that's gonna provide a lot of extra wiggle room. It's not going to provide a decent lockdown. The laces go up only to here. What's different from the composites is that the foam is kind of all around, but they kind of mold slightly to the shape of your foot. Not drastically, but it's more flexible. Here it's already rigid, plastic, and there's no lace loop. The composite has lace loops come all the way almost down to your toe area to provide the lockdown, which was its strong suit. Again, comparing this to the composites, the heel is very soft and plush. That's a bit of a contrast from the composite, where you feel this angular square area where the foam doesn't compress as much. But on the forefoot, there's really not much there. So the composites, you actually have the full-length zoom and an added heel zoom area, and you can actually feel a little bit more of that tech inside, even though it's an old shoe. This, it's soft, kind of plush, but not exactly designed for performance. The insole is paper thin. Even without the insole, you can feel the plushness of the foam that's used. I think it's just plain EVA with very low density or maybe bounce. The insole, it's got like carpet-like surface, so that's good, but it's very paper thin EVA, so it's basically a non-factor. The crazy thing about this shoe is the price point is, it's nuts. It costs over $200 easy, depending on what country you're purchasing it from. From here, it easily surpasses $200, and I don't think it's worth that much. It's a nice design. If you like this design and if you really like this callback to the original Kobe's by Adidas, maybe think about it. But other than that, don't waste your money.